क्या राहुल गांधी कहना चाहते हैं वो नहीं जानते? भाई साहब, इससे अगर कोई संबंधित प्रश्न हो तो बताएं। थैंक यू।
Well, good evening. Thanks a lot for staying with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar, and that's the big story that we continue to track at this hour. The press conference that was coming in by Smriti Irani of the BJP. The BJP, they're hitting out at the Congress, questioning the visit of Rahul Gandhi to the United States and also his meeting with George Soros' proxy, Sunita Vishwanath. Remember, the timing of when all of this is coming is also crucial. This is coming on a day when there is an FIR against BJP IT cell chief Amit Malviya. Now the press conference that you just heard from Union Minister Smriti Irani, 2-3 questions that the BJP is raising. One, the question that is being raised by the BJP is that everybody knows the intentions of a man like George Soros. He's had his eye on India for a very long time. Why is Rahul Gandhi meeting with his aides or his proxies? The second question that they're saying that there is a larger nexus of George Soros as well as Jamaat Islam. We'll try and get more details of what is the Congress responding as far as the criticism that's coming in from the BJP. But as I pointed out, the BJP questioning Congress's link as far as George Soros and his aides and his proxy, Sunita Vishwanath, is concerned. We're putting out those visuals on our screens as well. That is from Rahul Gandhi's visit to the United States. Now, the point that the BJP is making, that everybody knows the intentions and the narrative that a man like George Soros wants to peddle, then why is Rahul Gandhi or the Congress wanting to have any sort of association with him or even his aides? As I pointed out, this is coming on a day when there has been an FIR against BJP IT cell chief Amit Malviya for circulating a video that was mocking Rahul Gandhi. There was a complaint against him and then an FIR that was filed against him. Let's listen in to what the Union Minister had to say.
Is it true that Sri Gandhi met Sunita Vishwanath during his trip to the United States of America? Ladies and gentlemen of the press, you are aware that I myself had done a press conference with regards to George Soros's intentions to destabilize a democratic elected government in India. Question is, when it is known to every Indian what George Soros intends to do, why is Mr. Gandhi hobnobbing with those who are funded by George Soros?
That's the kind of criticism that's coming in from the BJP. Let's just recap for our viewers of what really has happened. The BJP is questioning Rahul Gandhi's visit to the United States and his meeting with this lady that you see on your screens, who is Sunita Vishwanath. The BJP is saying she's a proxy of George Soros. Now, the BJP is saying everybody knows the intentions of George Soros. Why is the Congress continuing to have meetings with his aides or proxies? Now, who really is Sunita Vishwanath, and why is the BJP saying that there is a larger nexus at play? Sunita Vishwanath is the co-founder of Hindus for Human Rights. Hindus for Human Rights has been accused time and again of promoting propaganda against Hindus. It allegedly promotes narrative of Hinduism versus Hindutva as well. But let's first get in our colleague Payal, who's joining us on the broadcast. Payal, what is the kind of nexus that the Union Minister is talking about when she says that everybody knows the intentions of a man like George Soros? Why is Rahul Gandhi meeting with Sunita Vishwanath? And she says there's a larger nexus at play. What is this nexus that the BJP is talking about?
Well, Mr. George Soros is said to be extremely critical of the Modi government and in fact had tried to create narrative around that as well. That is something that the BJP had called out even back a couple of months ago. And now they are saying that every time that Rahul Gandhi goes overseas, he seems to be associating with people who have this anti-India narrative. So that's the question that is being put out over here by the BJP, of course led by Union Minister Smriti Irani, who has reminded defeated Rahul Gandhi from Amethi, in the last election as well. So that's the kind of narrative that they're creating. So they're saying that Rahul Gandhi's intent is very, very clear. He associates himself with people who have this anti-India narrative. Now, the BJP in the past has also called out Rahul Gandhi's meeting with several people, including his meeting with, the likes of his meeting with the likes of the Chinese ambassador at the time, when India was dealing diplomatically with China. They also called out the Congress party in the past that, when the Gujarat elections were underway, then Rahul Gandhi's party was hobnobbing with Medha Patkar, who was said to be, she was against the entire movement that was valuable to the Kutch region of the state as well. So these are the questions that the BJP essentially is asking of Rahul Gandhi. And of course, his question is recent visit, because remember, during his recent visit also, Rahul Gandhi was extremely critical of the Indian government and the way that he has said that the Indian government was killing democracy by each passing day.
Payal, we'll just request you to stay on with us. We want to take in a reaction from the BJP. Shehzad Poonawalla now joining us. Shehzad, good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. We just heard that press conference that came from the Union Minister. Before I ask you about the nexus that the minister is talking about, the Congress might say the timing of when Smriti Irani or the BJP is making these allegations is questionable. This is a day when there is an FIR that has been lodged against the BJP IT cell, Amit Malviya. So this might just be vendetta politics.
No, we had absolutely at the time when Sunita Vishwanath was galvanizing and sharing the stage with Rahul Gandhi, we had raised our voice even back then that somebody who's associated and closely linked with George Soros is actually behind Rahul Gandhi's programs and that he should explain what is this link. We had also raised this question when Praveen Chakravarti, for instance, from the Congress party, had supported and endorsed George Soros' statement of interference into Indian democracy. When Salil Shetty walked with Rahul Gandhi in the Bharat Jodo Yatra, and Salil Shetty is also associated with George Soros, we raised these questions even then. But the question today is that the Congress party, which preaches from the pulpit about democracy and democratic rights, today files an FIR out of pure vendetta politics in order to intimidate and silence somebody because they can't take on us politically. The question is that what does 153A and 5052 have to do anything with the video that has been put out? The video is a legitimate expression of what we feel Rahul Gandhi is up to when he makes statements like having interference into Indian democracy, when he goes and meets the likes of Jeremy Corbyn or the other people who spew venom against India. So that is a political point. But what does it say about the Congress, which invokes a 153A? Now, 153A is attracted between enmity between groups. So what groups are being created enmity between? What does 5052 have to do with this kind of video? So the point is that the Congress party is the past master at vendetta politics and in using and misusing agencies of law. They've tried to do this and they must answer that what is the Congress party objecting to? Isn't the video demonstrating exactly what the Congress party stands for? Haven't they questioned the surgical strikes? Haven't they been galvanizing with the Chinese on Doklam at the time of Doklam crisis? Don't they have a secret MOU with the Chinese? Didn't they receive funds from China into the RGF? Are these statements of facts or are they fiction? The Congress party should explain.
Okay. Shehzad, while we'll get the Congress to respond as to why we're not seeing a defamation case against Mr. Malviya, but that's a separate story. As far as the allegations that have been made by the Union Minister, the Congress will say that the leader is free to meet people. He has a lot of people, pre-scheduled meetings as well. What is this Jamaat link and nexus that the BJP is talking about?
Well, why doesn't the Congress party, while Rahul Gandhi is free to meet whoever he wants, but when he goes on foreign soil and demands intervention into Indian democracy, when he makes statements that are absolutely untrue about institutions of the country and undermines Bharat, isn't it kosher to ask Rahul Gandhi that who are these agencies or organizations backed and funded by the likes of Jamaat-e-Islami, IAMC, and by Soros Foundation who are organizing these meetings? And therefore, isn't it relevant to ask that are those questions which Rahul Gandhi is raising on foreign soil being sponsored or being pushed by an agenda by these organizations? If Rahul Gandhi has no links with these organizations in their entire program, he should come out and clarify. We put out a picture of Sunita Vishwanath. There, Ms. Smriti Irani is holding that picture. Why doesn't Rahul Gandhi explain that somebody is sitting about 5 feet away from him? Who is she? What is her link to the God?
So Shehzad, give me 30 seconds then. I will just ask the Congress person only, spokesperson, to respond to those questions, but I'll request you to stay with us for 30 seconds. Charan Singh Sapra of the Congress also now joining us. Ms. Sapra, good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. The BJP just did a press conference. They're holding up a picture. We're putting out a close-up of that picture as well. They're asking who is Sunita Vishwanath? Why is Rahul Gandhi meeting her?
See, the entire nation is asking about, inflation and the price rise. They are asking, entire nation is asking about unemployment, the rising unemployment in the country. Whereas the BJP just wants to divert the issue from their major failures. That's why probably Smriti Irani might have taken this press conference, and the authenticity of the photograph which she's showing, that needs to be clarified. And they are in government. They can. They have all the agencies. They have connect with international agencies. They have connect with international leaders of various countries. They can go into any sort of investigation and then talk. Just merely throwing a photograph or throwing assumption.
But Mr. Sapra, you would also agree that someone, Mr. Sapra, you would also agree that someone like George Soros has an anti-India narrative. His intentions have been made clear time and again. Somebody like Sunita Vishwanath also has a very clear anti-Hindu narrative. Why the meeting? Because the BJP is then saying that the Congress has no moral high ground to question what's happening in the country. These are the kind of forces they want to collude with.
See, the morality of BJP, who's the ruling party since 9 years, lies, in controlling the inflation within the country, in, giving employment opportunities to the people of India, in resolving the problems of farmers over here. They had promised that the income of farmers will be doubled by 2022, which has not happened. The promise of MSP C2 plus 50% is not done. There are so many things about women protection and so many things which they have promised, which they have are the clear failures of Bharatiya Janata Party.
So, Shehzad, the point that the Congress is making, that for the citizen of the country, is Sunita Vishwanath a priority for their life, or is inflation, jobs and other issues a priority? Is the BJP now using pictures of Sunita Vishwanath as a diversionary tactic?
Did Rahul Gandhi go to foreign soil and talk about inflation or India's growth rate? Which he should have, because India's inflation rate is lower than America's and growth rate is higher than America's. He went and spoke about democratic institutions. And who was he doing it with? With the likes of Sunita Vishwanath, who was funded by George Soros, with the likes of Sarish Shetty, with the likes of HFHR, with the likes of IAMC, which has links to Jamaat-e-Islami and others, the group that have been spewing venom against India on foreign soil. So if Rahul Gandhi's priority was unemployment, let's have a debate on that. Let's have a debate on growth rates. Let's have a debate on the IMF report or the Morgan Stanley report. I'm more than happy to do that. Rahul Gandhi goes abroad, takes the help of these anti-India forces, gets clicked with them in closed doors, and then when we ask them that is it true or false,
can I come in?
Thapra has no bomb. Janjit Thapra should only answer this. Was he with Sunita Vishwanath? Yes or no? And if he was, who is Sunita Vishwanath? Just answer this question. And let's have a debate on unemployment immediately after this, ma'am.
Mr. Sapra.
The BJP also has to answer first that why 100 people were killed in Manipur, why Manipur is burning for the 55th day.
Mr. Sapra, we can continue to, make a diversion to other topics. Let's just talk about the issue at hand, which is that picture that we're putting out, the press conference that the BJP has done. Does the Congress would want to give a clarification? Or who is Sunita Vishwanath and why did Rahul Gandhi meet her?
Is 100 deaths in Manipur not a concern for you and your channel? Is the arson in Manipur not a concern for you and your channel? Why we should not talk? Why the opposition should
Sir, our channel has been covering the crisis in Manipur. I would suggest that you would watch the channel a little more. I'm only saying, I'm just saying, let's try and focus on the issue that we're talking today evening, which is the picture that the BJP is putting out. Mr. Sapra.
You please don't try to cover up.
No, there is no cover up. I asked a counter question in front of you to Shehzad, so I'm asking you. Mr. Sapra,
failures. They are trying to divert the attention of the nation. They are trying to divert the attention of the channels also.
Mr. Sapra, we always welcome debates on economy, inflation. Manipur is a story that we've been tracking very, very closely. But today, we're talking about this picture that the BJP has put out, and we're only asking the Congress as far as why was this meeting happening, who is Sunita Vishwanath, would the Congress want to give a clarification? That's all.
Why this government is lacking in all this thing? Why the Lakhimpur Kheri 4 farmers were killed, and why that Mantri Putra is on bail outside? So there are so many questions which BJP should answer. That is their failure. You should also ask questions on that. They just want to divert the attention and they want to make channel a party for diverting the narrative.
No,
of
no, the
nation.
channel is not becoming any party. The channel is covering all stories. The channel is questioning the BJP also. The channel is questioning the Congress also. Unfortunately, we're not able to get a clear answer. Shehzad, the Congress is saying all this is just a diversionary tactic. Is this the focus that the BJP should be focusing on?
First of all, I don't want to use this platform to lecture the media on how it should do its job. I think they're doing a fantastic job. But having said that, I am happy, Ridhima. Why don't you call us next 10 minutes? We'll discuss unemployment and we'll satisfy Charanjit Sapra. But Charanjit ji, one question.
Of course. Let us discuss. Let us discuss unemployment.
Okay, Mr. Sapra, let Shehzad finish his point. He didn't interrupt you. I'll give you a fair chance also. Mr. Sapra.
Why is he again trying to divert?
Okay, Mr. Sapra, let him just make his point. We'll come back to you. Shehzad.
Who is Sunita Vishwanath? Who is Salil Shetty? Who is Ajit Shahi? What is the links of Rahul Gandhi with IAMC, which took a stand against India's interest in Kashmir? Why was Praveen Chakravarti supporting George Soros' tweet of intervention into India? Why are people linked and funded by George Soros hobnobbing with Rahul Gandhi? And why is it after that Rahul Gandhi questioned and undermines India's democracy, seeks foreign intervention into India's democracy? Earlier, we've seen him sign an MOU with China, take Chinese money and spill the Chinese version on events.
So Mr. Sapra, the question, I'm going to reframe it once again to try and get an answer. The question that the BJP is asking is, when Rahul Gandhi goes on foreign soils, he questions the working of India as a democracy. But why is he colluding with anti-India forces when he's on foreign soil?
No, it's nothing about colluding, and he has asked me so many questions. I will also ask him question that why the petrol price is above 100 rupees today, why it is not coming to rupees 35. Why the diesel prices are not going beyond rupees 30? What has happened to the essential commodities? Why is BJP not lowering the prices? Why the petrol and diesel prices are not being brought in under GST? These are the questions which the nation is asking. BJP has to answer the questions which the whole nation wants them to answer. They just want to divert the attention. They just want to, hide their failures. And this is what BJP is continuously doing in this country. That's why they have lost the election in Karnataka. That is why they have lost the election in Himachal Pradesh. 2 elections in 1 year BJP has lost because people are no more taking their jumlas. BJP is Bharat ki jhuti party, Bharatiya Jumla party. That has come out of it.
So, Shehzad, the Congress is also asking that anybody who criticizes the Modi regime, will they be seen as an anti-India force?
I'm making it absolutely clear. Rahul Gandhi and Charanjit Sapra are free to criticize the BJP all day, night long, here, abroad, wherever they want. They said there should be intervention into India from US and that democracy in India is dead. And when they said that, they were galvanizing and hobnobbing with the likes of George Soros' funded people and IAMC, India American Muslim Council, which supports the line which is anti-India interest in Kashmir. Now my question to Sapra ji is, was Rahul Gandhi raising unemployment issues in America? No. He was talking about Indian democracy after taking help from IAMC and such organizations. Can you please tell us why he was meeting Sunita Vishwanath?
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. We'll have to leave that conversation there. Charan Singh Sapra and Shehzad Poonawala, appreciate you joining us here on CNN News 18. Our colleague Arun Dhanta also now joining us on the broadcast. Arun, a political war of words has erupted. The Congress is saying this is just a diversionary tactic. The BJP is forgetting to focus on issues that actually matter to the citizens.
Well, that's right. And BJP, throwing huge allegations on Rahul Gandhi, and Union Minister Smriti Irani has in fact given the charge to take on to Rahul Gandhi and putting out the details of the visit of Rahul Gandhi to United States. She said that in one of the meetings of Rahul Gandhi, there was a clear photograph of Sunita Vishwanath sitting beside Rahul Gandhi, who is known to be a close associate of George Soros, who has already shown his intentions towards India, that how he wants to destroy the democratic setup of the country. And therefore, Smriti Irani and BJP asking questions from Rahul Gandhi that why people like Sunita Vishwanath was part of that program. And not only that, they have also highlighted the role of Jamaat-e-Islami in this entire visit of Rahul Gandhi, because one of the participation of a person, Jamil Ansari, who was part of the delegation whom Rahul Gandhi met, has links with the Jamaat-e-Islami, and in fact BJP is asking question that why Rahul Gandhi is meeting those people who are working against India's interest on the foreign soil. In fact, they have also asked questions from Rahul Gandhi to answer the presence of Salil Shetty in his Bharat Jodo Yatra, who is also amongst those people who have a certain agenda against the country, and their involvements have been found even in the past, that how they have done things to tarnish the image of the country.
Okay, Arun, we'll have to leave the conversation there. Thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Let's just recap for our viewers the questions that have been raised by the BJP and what is the nexus that they're hinting at. The first question that has been raised by the BJP is it true that Rahul Gandhi met Sunita Vishwanath during his US visit? If yes, what is the relationship between the two and why? The second question that's been raised by the BJP is George Soros wants to dent India's image, then why meet his aide or proxy? Because his intentions and narrative about India is known to all. The third question that has been raised by the BJP is if the meeting did happen and the Congress accepts to it, what is the kind of conversation that Rahul Gandhi had with George Soros' aide or proxy Sunita Vishwanath? The Congress on their part saying this is just a diversionary tactic. We'll keep tracking all those developments. For now, slipping into a very short.
So there was tension in Mira Bhayandar late last night after this particular issue. The police say that the situation was brought under control thereafter. Back to you.
Well, Vinay, we have to show our viewers how the residents are actually chanting Jai Shri Ram and Chalisa. Let's take a look. We showed our viewers how residents are actually chanting Chalisa and are singing Hanuman Chalisa as well and are chanting Jai Shri Ram outside their residence. But do we have any official word coming in from the cops as well, since they intervened in this particular matter?
Well, yes, the cops said that they deployed police personnel at Mira Bhayandar the minute they came to know about the brawl, and that once tension started rising, a team of police was sent there in order to control the crowd. There were some altercations there as well, and as per our information, the police had to resort to some use of force in order to disperse the crowd as well. So as of now, what we are learning is that this was, the tension in the area was going on till late last night. Where there were, confrontations and altercations between two groups, ostensibly over the issue within the housing complex, where both the groups started complaining that this was against what was agreed within the constitution. In fact, we saw that there were several altercations from within the housing complex as well, where the members who raised objections were seen confronting those who had brought the votes within the housing complex. There was a debate about why they were being stopped and how a large number of crowds gathered thereafter as well. So as of now, the police say that the situation is under control, it is peaceful, but there was a lot of tension in the area after certain right-wing activists had also joined in, and the two groups had a face-off after this altercation from within the housing complex.
Maharashtra, where tension at the housing society in Mira Bhayandar after two goats were brought by lift have erupted. Now, society claims that goats were not allowed to be taken in the lift, but they were taken. Now, we are showing you the visuals as well, police had to intervene in this particular matter even as a large crowd gathered over the issue. Now, protesting residents chanted Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram outside the buildings as well. So it is a shocking and breaking news coming in from the state of Maharashtra, where tension at the housing society in Mira Bhayandar after 2 goats were actually brought by lift. Now, society claims that goats are actually not allowed to be taken in the lift, but they were taken. Now, police had to intervene in this particular matter even as the large crowd gathered over this particular issue. Protesting residents chanted Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram. We are showing you the visuals of that building and how 2 goats were taken up from the lift even after it was not allowed in the building, and hence the protest has now erupted outside the building, where the residents are actually chanting Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram. Now, the Mira Bhayandar, okay, I have CNN News 18's Vinay Deshpande joining me on the phone line. Vinay, a very good morning to you. Could you please tell our viewer what exactly the matter was?
Good morning. Now, this is an incident that is being reported from JP North Society in Mira Bhayandar, where police had to use force because a lot of people had gathered. What had happened was this was an internal matter from the housing society, where there were 2 goats which were taken by the lift. The society claimed that it was not allowed that the goats were transported through the lift. Some society members also claimed that it was being done for Qurbani and that it was not allowed in the housing complex. Because of that, tension rose within the housing complex. You saw how a large number of people gathered within the housing complex. There was a bit of sloganeering as well, and there were altercations. Thereafter, the police had to enter the scene, where we could see that there were some altercations between the police and the protesting groups as well. So there was tension in Mira Bhayandar late last night after this particular issue. The police say that the situation was brought under control thereafter. Back to you.
Well, Vinay, we have to show our viewers how the residents are actually chanting Jai Shri Ram and Chalisa. Let's take a look. We showed our viewers how residents are actually chanting Chalisa and are singing Hanuman Chalisa as well, and are chanting Jai Shri Ram outside their residence. But do we have any official word coming in from the cops as well, since they intervened in this particular matter?
Well, yes, the cops said that they deployed police personnel at Mira Bhayandar when they came to know about the brawl, and that once tension started rising, a team of police was sent there in order to control the crowd. There were some altercations there as well, and as per our information, the police had to resort to some use of force in order to disperse the crowd as well. So as of now, what we are learning is that this was, the tension in the area was going on till late last night. Where there were, confrontations and altercations between 2 groups, ostensibly over the issue within the housing complex, where both the groups started complaining that this was against what was agreed within the constitution. In fact, we saw that there were several altercations from within the housing complex as well, where the members who raised objections were seen confronting those who had brought the goat.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. The big story that we're tracking is coming in from Tamil Nadu, where there's a row between Hindu religious and charitable endowments, or the HRNC department, and the Chidambaram Nataraj temple Dikshitas. The HRNC minister P Babu has accused the Dikshitas managing the Nataraj temple in Chidambaram of not divulging information to the government on temple funds or assets, and said that efforts are on to bring this shrine under the ambit of his department. He also stated that the Chidambaram temple is functioning with an authority mindset by the Dikshitas. Yesterday, the HRNC department official, accompanied by 2 female police officers, entered the premises briefly amid stiff resistance from the Dikshitas. The Dikshitas had placed a port in the temple a few days ago, announcing restrictions on devotees till Tuesday. Now, the Chidambaram town police have also booked a case against 11 Dikshitas for allegedly obstructing an official of the HRNC department from discharging her duty, among many others. So let's break down the details in terms of what really happened and what is the row really about. Also, we'll talk about what the courts had said way back in 2014. But let's first break down the details of what really happened over the last 24 hours. The devotees were stopped from entering the temple premises by the Dikshitas because they cited security concerns. Now, what happened next? Remember, as I pointed out earlier, the Dikshitas had already put a board within the temple premises. They, in fact, had logged entry for a time period of 4 days. Now, this actually prompted the HRNC officials and police personnel to then step in, and they actually climbed atop the mandapam. Now, what has happened is there is legal action that has followed suit as well. 11 Dikshitas have been booked by the police. Let's also now bring in our guest to try and understand what really is happening and what is the way forward. We have author and activist Rahul Ishwar, who is joining us on the broadcast. We also have a supporter of the DMK and political analyst Pula Rao also joining us on the broadcast. Gentlemen, good to have you with us here on CNN News 18. Rahul, I'd like to begin the conversation with you first. I just broke down the sequence of events of what really has happened. How did you see the sequence of events, the proceedings that happened in the last 24 hours?
2 submissions, ma'am. First of all, thank you to you and national media for taking this. This is gross injustice and violation happening in Tamil Nadu. It is against Article 25, Article 26 of our Indian Constitution, and against the spirit of the verdict in 2014 by none less than the Honorable Supreme Court. What is happening is a devious, dubious, and disguised move by the DMK government to take over the temple from Podu Dikshidhar. Podu Dikshidhar have been there servicing for centuries for deity and devotees. And we as ordinary devotees respect deity, Dikshidhar and devotee, because we have, they have been in service of the Bhagavan for centuries altogether. Right now, using flimsy excuses, using many kind of devious mechanizations and misinformation, as rightly pointed out by Dikshidhars, which the state government is indulging in. They are trying to remove Dikshidhars and trying to take over the temple. This is very provocative, and look at the audacity of the minister, who even had the open audacity to say, we are trying to bring the temple under his control. What business do politicians have inside the temple? Just like our Christian brothers and Muslim brothers have the right over church and mosque, we Hindus also need to have the right over our temples. Is it too much to ask for? This was guaranteed by our constitution, Gandhiji and Ambedkar. From the time of freedom struggle, that Article 25 and 26 will be intact, and every religion, be it Hindu, Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, Jew or Jain, or will have the right over their own shrines. Why is government trying to intervene in the space and trying to take over the temple? This is governmental interference, political interference. This is anti-Hindu and anti-Brahmin mindset that is having. I would humbly urge DMK government to withdraw from this purposefully provocative move. This is not good. People like the CM Stalin should be very mindful of it. They are purposefully provoking the Hindu community into action. This is very unfortunate. Dikshidhars have been doing selfless service for centuries to the deity. Attacking them is attacking Bhagavan and attacking the Hindu community as such. And this is violation of constitutionally guaranteed fundamental right of Article 25 and 26 too.
Okay, Rahul, I'll talk to you about the move by the Dikshitas of blocking entry also in just a bit. But Pula Rao, respond to what Rahul is saying. He is saying there is religious interference, there is political interference, there is an anti-Hindu narrative that is being peddled. When every other religion has equal rights, why should the Hindus be deprived?
No, every other religion has equal right. Why should the Hindus be deprived? It's a larger question which has not yet been settled. Should governments control temples or not? Should the Hindu religious acts be removed? Why? You don't have to go far. Even in Uttarakhand, for many years under the BJP government, they took over the temples from private hands. That Mr. Ishwar knows. He's a well-learned man. Now, what I'm trying to say is, that's a larger question. Should temples be run by Hindus? Maybe yes. That has not yet been settled by law, by courts, or by parliament. It's going on. Second point here is, in this particular temple, the issue of child marriage has arisen. For example, a few months ago last year, a very big issue came. They found that due to various practices, there has to be consanguineous marriages, people are marrying within themselves, lots of problems there. The child department found this, police have registered cases, all of this is going on. We want independence for temples, Hindus should have it. Nobody is questioning that, maybe. But there are certain laws. When you control a temple, you also have to respect society. You cannot take an authoritative stance. In fact, when Hindus take over the temples themselves, for them there should be a benevolence. There should be a generosity. There should be harmony. They should try to work with everybody else. And they should never give an excuse to the government or society to point a finger at them, that they are high-handed, that they're corrupt, they're mismanaging things. That is their fault if they're doing this. They're inviting trouble. And I just gave an instance that the National Child Rights Protection Committee also, when they confirmed that young children, 13, 14, were being married so that there were certain laws were answered. All these things I simply say, if you are controlling the temple, should you not be very careful not to break any law? Should you not take the devotees' interest in consideration? Should you not consult the devotees? Everyone, why not have
So Rahul, the move by the Dikshitas is also coming under a lot of criticism. Should they have actually created that blockade? Why should devotees not have a right to pray?
Absolutely. Why should you do that?
Two submissions. One, Pularauji, I really respect. No, I concede with this point that pujaris or priests should be very mindful, very careful, and they should definitely follow the law. There is no debate about that, especially coming from a family of pujaris. I understand we should not be high-handed. There should not be an attitude of casteism. All said and given. And if somebody has violated the law, especially regarding child marriage, police can definitely take action. But like 2014 Supreme Court verdict rightly pointed out, any kind of misadministration cannot be a pretext to take over the temple. Because this was the same excuse given by the British government back in 1812 by people like Macaulay to take over our temples. That's a misadministration. So the humble submission is, if there are flaws, please call that out. Please punish. Please take legal action. Let that not be a disguise, a pretext, a mask to take over the entire temple ecosystem, which is centuries old. There might be one or two faults from one or two Dikshitas conceded. They can definitely action should be there. But you cannot remove a system for the fault of one or two. That's the reason why, as you rightly pointed out in the introduction, in the 2014 Supreme Court verdict, Supreme Court has categorically pointed this out. And as Pularauji also said, the larger question also needs to be debated. Every other community should have freedom to run their own shrines. We are all respect that. We are all pluralistic in our DNA. At the same point of time, should that right be denied to us? Why should
So, Pulara, two questions that are being raised by Rahul Ishwar. One, he's saying that just because, he's conceding that possibly one or two Dikshitas could have overstepped, but because of that, should you really ask for overhauling of a system? Secondly, the criticism that's coming in is that this is another move by the government to try and take control of the temple. And as Rahul pointed out, go back to what the Supreme Court had said in 2014, that the temples need to be managed by priests, not by the Tamil Nadu government. So why should we see a breach of that?
I know Rahul comes from a very nice background, Sabarimala, he knows, and he rightly said, priests have to have an air of benevolence, piety, goodness, kindness. Are the Dikshitas showing it there in Chidambaram? Not, definitely not. It's a terrific temple. It's a huge temple with endless properties. They should mind it very carefully. They should streamline their own administration. They should not give room for any doubt. You know the old saying, Caesar's wife should be above suspicion. That means there should be no suspicion. Everybody should laud that administration. On the other hand, with a blocking of people very forcefully, pushing them out, devotees, this brings about a very bad impression of this temple, and it affects all other temples. It affects the movement of temples to get away from government control. And the second point is, Supreme Court judgment is there. It doesn't last forever if they continue to do these things. If they give a room for such interventions, maybe the next court, the next bench will reverse the judgment. Judgments are reversed.
So Rahul Pulara is saying that it's not the government that actually wants to overhaul the entire system. It's the Dikshitas which are creating a scenario where the government will have to step in.
I would humbly urge the counter is the case, because government is carefully creating a scenario and also a misinformation campaign against the Sadhu Dikshitas. They don't have access to the media. They are usually people who are very pious and spiritual, who don't interact that frequently to the outside world. So government, the powerful government machinery on one side and the poor Sadhu Dikshitas on the other side is the real situation. And when misinformation is bombarded on them, they are feeling helpless and they are using some excuses. Now, we had issues of casteism. Nobody is denying that. People like Gandhiji and Swami Vivekananda cleansed us of such kind of evils. Yes, there are some vestiges. We have to throw away with it. And as Pularao ji rightly said, there are some high-handed bad practices which should be there, which even people like me coming from the community have opposed. Yes, not only here, in every temple, we should definitely do away with it. But state government is misusing this opportunity or exploiting this opportunity in a larger scale for a dubious design. For example, if any of our Christian brothers or Muslim brothers' church or mosque, if one or two bad incidents are happening, is the government going to take over the church? Is the government going to take over the mosque? That is not going to happen, because only Hindu temple is under the quasi-governmental body, and temples need to have liberation. Britishers left us 75 years ago, but the system which Britishers created for managing our temples is still here. India got freedom, but our temples are yet to get freedom from the British colonial era system. So what we are saying is, yes, every kind of constructive criticism should be there, positive feedback should be there. The Dikshitas, the Brahmins, the priests, the Pujaris will have to reform themselves. Agreed.
Yeah.
But at the same point of time,
Rahul, I apologize for interrupting. You're saying, I apologize for interrupting. You're saying there's a reform that's needed as far as our priests and Dikshitas are concerned. I just want to go back to the point that I asked you a short while ago. This entire controversy broke out after that blockade that came from Dikshitar. The question that is being raised is, was this blockade even needed in the first place?
No, there's a particular space called Kanaga Sabha, a particular space in the temple where there are some regulations. See, these are only matters of detail and micro matters, but people are blowing it up in a big way so that the Dikshitas can be demonized. If there can be any issue, they can go to court. The court will have a settlement, because nobody can say no to a court. Okay. But when a temple administration is being interfered by any politician for that matter, as he rightly said, Uttarakhand, many temples were taken by the government. We all protested, irrespective of whether it is BJP or Congress. That is a very bad move. That is bad in law. That is bad in spirit. That is bad for our secular and pluralistic framework. But the only humble submission is, this cannot be a pretext. Please go to court if they have done something wrong. Let the court reprimand and reform it. But if the secular, if the polity or the politicians are going to intervene, they are not. They are going to make a mess of it. They are
Rahul is saying that if you have an issue, you take the legal recourse. But are politicians or political parties using Dikshitas to demonize them to suit their political narrative today?
Absolutely, that's the case. That's the case. And Dikshitas, the poor Dikshitas are being sidelined. Disinformation campaign is being bombarded.
Let Pularao respond to that. Rahul, let Pularao respond to that. Pularao.
No, the point is this. The point is, it's a very old temple, magnificent temple. And there were at one time 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 Dikshitas. Now I believe there are only 500 to 600. They dwindled. There are other health issues which come up. They're very old kind of customs, very quaint customs in those days, but they have now shown a very, very bad genetic impact there. All these problems are going on and they are not correcting it. You see, I'm sure Mr. Rahul will agree that if somebody, some independent entity does not correct itself, does not self-regulate, it invites trouble for itself, and government does have the freedom to take over. Then it becomes state property. 1885, I think, the first time this case came up in the Madras High Court, 1885, at that time, yes, I agree with you, the British judge was there, the Indian judge was there, and they said take over this and take over that. But they have managed to have freedom till now. Till 2014, they got a very lucky judgment from the Supreme Court, and they carried on. They have to be ultra careful. They're not careful. They should reform their corrupt practices or antiquated practices. They should not invite public ridicule, public ire. They're doing all of that. And therefore, this is too valuable a historical temple, massive temple, unlike which I believe there are very few in the south or in India itself. And therefore, I personally feel that the Dikshitas, are they capable of running this or not? Should they not get professional management to run their affairs? Should they not? They're impoverished. Why are they impoverished when they have huge properties? Therefore, they themselves are inviting turbulence, attention on themselves.
There are two questions that have been raised. This is what we heard from a DMK representative, TK Silangovan, also earlier in the day. Pularao is saying that should Dikshitas even be running the temple? Do they have what it takes to run the temple. The other allegation that has been made by the DMK time and again, and not for the first time, is that Dikshitars want a control of the temple, not just as far as the interests of the devotees are concerned, but because they have an eye as far as wealth is concerned. That's the allegation that is being made by the DMK.
No, the second allegation is absolutely wrong. Dikshitars are selfless, and all the pujaris, because they believe the deity is the core of their being and core of their life. The second allegation is absolutely wrong. I reject that. Regarding the first, yes, more professional management is needed. But please remember, it can be a supportive stuff. The core thing should be managed by priest. The core thing should be managed by spiritual people, whether it be pujaris of our, padres of our Christian brothers, or maulanas of the Muslim community. The core of every religion or every spiritual path is a spirituality. Spirituality, rituals, prayer, godly aspects. So these things should be managed. Yes, the temple should be clean well, temple should have upgradation, temple needs to have better crowd management.
Sure.
For all these, there can be governmental support. For all these, there can be professional support. But the core is not professional. The core is spiritual. And Dikshitars have been doing the spiritual part really well. And if there are constructive feedbacks regarding some kind of temple management being better, yes, that can be done. For example, there is a international temple convention that is happening in August, where people from various temples across the world are coming. So temple upgradation should be there. Temple improvement must be there. And we should all lend us support to it. But Dikshitars are spiritual people. They have been running temple really well in the spiritual aspect. Any other criticism or feedback or way forward, a feed forward can be given to them. And we all will be better if better crowd management is there, if better cleanliness is there, if better facilities are there, if better technological upgradation is there. That feedback can definitely be given. And I hope when we communicate to them, I'll communicate to them all these positive feedbacks. But the core is temple should not be taken over by the government. Government has no business in temple. In the modern age, we usually say government has no business in business. Similarly, government has no business in temple, church or mosque. They belong to devotees. Article 25 and 26, which is fundamental right, guarantees that. I would humbly urge DMK government to withdraw from this aggressive move. The aggressive posturing of ministers like Shekhar has been very provocative. And our side too should not fall for provocation. And if there is a consensus needed, I hope judiciary will intervene and find a middle ground and consensus in this.
So can there be a middle ground? If yes, then what is it? Unfortunately, I'll have to leave that conversation there. Rahul, Ishwar and Pularao, always a pleasure speaking to both of you. Let's listen into some other reactions as well.
The government is doing a panic reaction, vendetta politics, and which should be we condemn this very strongly. And the government, in order to to take over HRNC, take over the temple, they are trying to threaten the Dikshitars and also the devotees and create a panic among the devotees. What is the need for hundreds of police to enter a temple? Will they? I dare them. These people, let them go to the South Indian church in Tirunelveli where we had a problem. Will the Tamil Nadu government send police, hundreds of police inside that building?
This particular temple has always been mired in some controversy or the other in the recent past. What is the DMK's take on the entire issue?
See, this has started way back during the times of Nandanar, when Dalits were not allowed and they had the Nandi in front. There was a story also about Nandanar. See, this temple is in the hands of a group of people who want to take away the wealth of the temple. See, they had said that the temple had earned 37,000 rupees. Is it believable? A temple like Chidambaram Nataraja temple earning only 37,000 rupees itself is a falsehood, which means they had taken away the remaining money. So they don't want anybody to come inside the temple only because they alone can take away the money. That is the problem. They will not allow anybody, even HRNC, they will go to court in spite of the court order that the temple can be taken by the HRNC. These people are against it. They are fighting for it. So we have seen many unlawful activities, including child marriage in that temple.
We'll keep tracking all these developments and a lot more. For now, we're slipping into a very short break.
in order to control the crowd. There were some altercations there as well, and as per our information, the police had to resort to some use of force in order to disperse the crowd as well. So as of now, what we are learning is that this was, the tension in the area was going on till late last night. Where there were, confrontations and altercations between two groups, ostensibly over the issue within the housing complex, where both the groups started complaining that this was against what was agreed within the constitution. In fact, we saw that there were several altercations from within the housing complex as well, where the members who raised objections were seen confronting those who had brought the goats within the housing complex. There was a debate about why they were being stopped and how a large number of crowds gathered thereafter as well. So as of now, the police say that the situation is under control, it is peaceful, but there was a lot of tension in the area after certain right-wing activists had also joined in, and the two groups had a face-off after this altercation from within the housing complex.
Maharashtra, where tension at the housing society in Mira Bhayandar after two goats were brought by lift have erupted. Now, society claims that goats were not allowed to be taken in the lift, but they were taken. Now, we are showing you the visuals as well. Police had to intervene in this particular matter, even as a large crowd gathered over the issue. Now, protesting residents chanted Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram outside the buildings as well. So it is a shocking and breaking news coming in from the state of Maharashtra, where tension at the housing society in Mira Bhayandar after two goats were actually brought by lift. Now, society claims that goats are actually not allowed to be taken in the lift, but they were taken. Now, police had to intervene in this particular matter, even as the large crowd gathered over this particular issue. Protesting residents chanted Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram. We are showing you the visuals of that building and how two goats were taken up from the lift even after it was not allowed in the building, and hence the protest has now erupted outside the building, where the residents are actually chanting Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram. Now, the Mira Bhayandar, okay, I have CNN News 18's Vinay Deshpande joining me on the phone line. Vinay, a very good morning to you. Could you please tell our viewer what exactly the matter was?
Good morning. Now, this is an incident that is being reported from JP North Society in Mira Bhayandar, where police had to use force because a lot of people had gathered. What had happened was this was an internal matter from the housing society, where there were two goats which were taken by the lift. The society claimed that it was not allowed that the goats were transported through the lift. Some society members also claimed that it was being done for Qurbani and that it was not allowed in the housing complex. Because of that, tension rose within the housing complex. You saw how a large number of people gathered within the housing complex. There was a bit of sloganeering as well, and there were altercations. Thereafter, the police had to enter the scene, where we could see that, there were some altercations between the police and the protesting groups as well. So there was tension in Mira Bhayandar late last night after this particular issue. The police say that the situation was brought under control thereafter. Back to you.
Well, Vinay, we have to show our viewers how the residents are actually chanting Jai Shri Ram and Chalisa. Let's take a look. We showed our viewers how residents are actually chanting Chalisa and are singing Hanuman Chalisa as well, and are chanting Jai Shri Ram outside their residence. But do we have any official word coming in from the cops as well, since they intervened in this particular matter?
Well, yes, the cops said that they deployed police personnel at Mira Bhayandar the minute they came to know about the brawl, and that, once tension started rising, a team of police was sent there in order to control the crowd. There were some altercations there as well, and, as per our information, the police had to resort to some use of force in order to disperse the crowd as well. So as of now, what we are learning is that this was, the tension in the area was going on till late last night, where there were, confrontations and altercations between two groups, ostensibly over the issue within the housing complex, where both the groups started complaining that this was against what was agreed within the constitution. In fact, we saw that there were several altercations from within the housing complex as well, where the members who raised objections were seen confronting those who had brought the goats within the housing complex. There was a debate about why they were being stopped and how a large number of crowds gathered thereafter as well. So as of now, the police say that the situation is under control, it is peaceful, but there was a lot of tension in the area after certain right-wing activists had also joined in, and the two groups had a face-off after this altercation from within the housing complex.
Maharashtra, where tension at the housing society in Mira Bhayandar after two goats were brought by lift have erupted. Now, society claims that goats were not allowed to be taken in the lift, but they were taken. Now, we are showing you the visuals as well. Police had to intervene in this particular matter, even as a large crowd gathered over the issue. Now, protesting residents chanted Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram outside the buildings as well. So it is a shocking and breaking news coming in from the state of Maharashtra, where tension at the housing society in Mira Bhayandar after two goats were actually brought by lift. Now, society claims that goats are actually not allowed to be taken in the lift, but they were taken. Now, police had to intervene in this particular matter, even as the large crowd gathered over this particular issue. Protesting residents chanted Chalisa and Jai Shri Ram. We are showing you the visuals of that building and how two goats were taken up from the lift even after...
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. There is monsoon mayhem which is wreaking havoc in Maharashtra. There is already severe waterlogging that is being reported from various areas like Bhiwandi, Thane and many others. This is due to accumulation of almost 1.5 to 2 feet waterlogging. The Andheri subway has also been closed for vehicular movement. It in fact has been closed for the second time in 4 days. Heavy rainfall has also led to flooding. Buildings are collapsing. Traffic congestion is becoming a reality. According to the BMC, there is a possibility of heavy to very heavy rainfall in Mumbai in the next 4 to 5 days.
मुंबई में कल रात से कई इलाकों में लगातार बारिश हो रही है। ऐसे में हर साल की तरह इस साल भी मुंबई के कई सारे इलाकों में जल जमाव की स्थिति जो है वो सामने आई है। इस वक्त हम मुंबई के अंधेरी इलाके में मौजूद है और अंधेरी का सबवे जो है वो पूरी तरीके से भर गया है। हम आपको बता दें कि लगातार 2 घंटों से यहाँ पर बारिश हो रही थी, जिसकी वजह से आप तस्वीरों में देख सकते हैं कि सबवे जो है वो पूरी तरीके से पानी से भर चुका है, जिसकी वजह से आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ की यातायात को जो है वो बंद कर दिया गया है। लेकिन हर साल इसी तरीके से अंधेरी सबवे जो है वो भर जाता है। तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं कि कमर जितना पानी जो है वो इस सबवे में भर गया है। ऐसे में मुंबई के और भी कई सारे इलाके हैं जहां पर जल जमाव की स्थिति बाहर आई है, लेकिन साफ तौर पर आप देख सकते हैं अंधेरी सबवे की तस्वीरें कि यहाँ पर किस तरीके से कमर जितना पानी जो है वो भर गया है, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ पर का जो रास्ता है यानी कि जो अंधेरी ईस्ट से अंधेरी वेस्ट के लिए रास्ता जाता है उसे पूरी तरीके से बंद कर दिया है। वहीं अगर आप दूसरी तरफ की तस्वीरें देखें तो यहाँ पर आप देख सकते हैं कि बैरिकेडिंग लगाकर जो है वो इस जगह को जो है वो पूरी तरीके से बंद कर दिया गया है और यहाँ पर जितनी भी सारी गाड़ियां हैं उन्हें दूसरी तरफ जो है वो डाइवर्ट जो है वो कर दिया गया है। ऐसे में आप देख सकते हैं मुंबई पुलिस भी मौके पर मौजूद है, बीएमसी की टीम भी मौके पर मौजूद है और यहाँ पर बैरिकेडिंग लगाकर पूरे रास्ते को जो है वो बंद कर दिया गया है, क्योंकि आप देख सकते हैं तस्वीरों में साफ तौर पर सबवे में जो है वो पानी भर गया है, जिसकी वजह से यहाँ पर यातायात को बंद कर दिया गया है और लगातार जो है पंप के जरिए पानी को बाहर निकालने निकालने की कोशिश जो है वो बीएमसी लगातार कर रही है, लेकिन तस्वीरों में आप देख सकते हैं कि सबवे में कमर से ऊपर जितना पानी जो है इस वक्त भर गया है। 2 घंटों से लगातार यहाँ पर बारिश हो रही है, जिसकी वजह से अंधेरी सबवे की तस्वीरें आप देख सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर किस तरीके से जल जमाव की स्थिति जो है वो उत्पन्न हो गई है। सबवे पूरी तरीके से पानी से लबालब भर चुका है, जिसकी वजह से यातायात को बंद कर दिया गया है और सबवे बंद होने की वजह से लोगों को भी काफी ज्यादा तकलीफों का सामना करना पड़ रहा है। लेकिन हर साल अंधेरी सबवे इसी तरीके से बंद हो जाता है, यहाँ पर पानी भर जाता है। हर साल इसी तरीके की तस्वीरें जो है वो अंधेरी सबवे से सामने आती है, लेकिन 2 घंटों की बारिश में अंधेरी सबवे जो है वो पूरी तरीके से भर गया है और यहाँ पर यातायात बंद कर दी गई है।
What you see here is right in the middle of the city at Kurla. There is heavy water logging over here ever since this morning. In fact, what needs to be seen is that this entire road is submerged in water. It looks as if there's a river flowing right here. You in fact see that there are small vehicles, their wheels are almost submerged underwater. Right there behind, there is traffic restrictions that have been put in place because the vehicles cannot move from that location. This very area of Kurla is a low-lying area where the waterlogging problem is perennially present, and which is where today, considering that there's been heavy rainfall in Mumbai ever since this morning, this area has had the waterlogging issue ever since this morning, and there's waterlogging which has been reported here. In fact, very close to this place at Mithi Nadi was where we saw that BMC Commissioner Iqbal Chahal had also visited to take a stock of the situation. However, year on year, the situation here at Kurla does not really improve. Waterlogging problems are a perennial.
Good evening and a warm welcome. You're watching Viewpoint with me, Grihatul Siddiqui. Just 5 years after, when the Law Commission of India had concluded that the Uniform Civil Code is neither necessary nor desirable, on June 14th this year, the Commission decided to solicit views and proposals from the public about the Uniform Civil Code. A move that keeps the pot boiling on one of India's most ideologically as well as politically rivaled issues. Hours after Prime Minister Narendra Modi in fact batted for the UCC while addressing BJP workers in poll-bound Madhya Pradesh, opposition parties slammed him and called his remarks an attack on India's pluralism and diversity. India's top Muslim body,